Hello and welcome to our inaugural episode of Pod-ket Monsters, a Pokemon podcast. My name is Dustin Cunningham, and joining me on this adventure is my amazing co-host, Jeff Grizz Ulrich. Jeff, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I spent all morning watching Did You Know Gamings about Pokemon, so I think I'm as versed as I can be in the video game sphere.
Yeah, I mean that's what every good podcast does is listen to every other podcast and show.
Right? Yeah.
And then regurgitate that information.
Exactly. Some interesting facts, though.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, definitely a lot to learn in this storied franchise.
Yeah, the 25 years this year.
Yeah, which is the whole reason we started doing this was we're both big.
Yeah, we wanted to. Yeah, and wanting to celebrate the 25th year is, and the only way that we could think of, which was a podcast.
There's no other way to celebrate.
Yeah, exactly. So to start things off a little bit, I just kind of wanted to go over what our, history is with Pokemon and some fond memories and who we are as well, too, and like how it kind of shaped us, I guess.
Okay.
Because for me, when I think back, I'm turning 30 next month, and I can't really think of a time before Pokemon.
Because you're a youngin'.
Yep, because I'm a baby.
Yeah, well, I'm turning 33 this year, and so I have very vivid memories of my first experiences with Pokemon because I was at the right age for, all that to be new and exciting, and and I still get to remember it.
Yeah, right. So why don't you start then, Jeff? What's your history with the series? And
well, I mean, I've been playing since it first came out in the United States. Red and Blue started getting advertised, and I distinctly, like, everybody remembers the commercial with the bus, right? You remember that commercial?
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember seeing that commercial and being like fascinated by it, just because, like, what are all these little monsters? That looks pretty cool. What's happening here? And then, of course, there at the time there wasn't as much readily available information available on upcoming games, especially ones that were just coming over from Japan. So I got the Nintendo Power and read up on any information I can to figure out what's going on here. I also have this distinct memory of Mewtwo appearing in a commercial, and I tried to locate the commercial and I can't find it. So
yeah,
I think I must have seen him in like a paper ad or something, but I distinctly remember seeing what looked to me like some kind of squirrel, but like a really awesome squirrel.
Yeah. That was purple.
That was purple. I don't in my memory, I don't even remember if it was purple, but I thought I remembered some sort of squirrel Pokemon. And I remember the first time I was playing through Pokemon Blue, which was my first one, I was trying to find this squirrel Pokemon, and I played through the whole game, and there was no squirrel Pokemon.
The closest thing was Rattata.
Or you could count Squirtle, which has the little curly cute tail, But
that's true.
I was pretty sure it wasn't Squirtle that I was remembering. But
the legendary Squirtle.
It had to be Mewtwo that I was remembering. But so I mean, I've been playing since Pokemon Blue, and I got I wanted to get all of them, got to catch them all. So I forced my mother to buy a copy of the red version as well, and then forced my older brother to play the red version so that I could get the Pokemon from him. And I say forced because that was the way it worked. I loved, video games. I loved getting new video games all the time. And I always wanted my brother to play with me. And my brother, he liked video games well enough, but that was never like his, main desire was, so I kind of had to force him to play games. But once he started playing Pokemon Red, he was hooked. As I'm sure, everyone was. So ever since then, every generation of Pokemon, I would get one copy for me, and then I would, once I started buying them for myself, I would also buy a copy for my brother. So
that's awesome.
He and I both continued to play up until the Switch came out, and my brother did not get a Switch. And so he is now a couple of games behind. I still bought them.
Just waiting.
It was like, you'll get a Switch one of these days. Just you wait.
Yeah. They'll be Christmas presents for a different time.
What about you?
So for me, like I said, I can't really remember like, I mean, I can remember a time before Pokemon, but some of my oldest memories do include Pokemon. I don't even remember how I ended up with a Gen 1 game, but I know I had one because my memory is feeling like Mount Moon was like the moment in video games where I just didn't know what I was doing. Like, I felt so lost. I was like, where am I going?
Gotta get
Why
that
can't I figure
guidebook.
out where to go? Yeah, exactly. And like, there wasn't really a way to, I didn't grow up with internet in my household. We lived in a super rural area and like, I had a single mom, so we didn't have that. So I couldn't really look anything up or use old, game facts or anything like that. But yeah, I just remember having it and playing it and just something about it. It just caught me. Like, even years later, I'd always be like, I hate turn-based RPGs. And then I'd have to remind myself, I'm like, no, I don't. I play every Pokemon game that ever comes out for hundreds of hours.
One of my best friends is exactly the same way. He
Yeah.
absolutely does not like any other RPG, but he plays every Pokemon game.
Well, and I think once I told myself that and like realized that, I was like, oh, I like turn-based RPGs. I have to have specific ones that I play. But I would say some of my earliest memories is I remember my first Pokemon card I ever got. I got a Squirtle, speaking of Squirtle earlier, from a friend of mine who got the cards, and my brother got an Onyx. And my brother was 2 years older than me, so he was like, oh, I'm cool. Like, I'm like, I want to say at that point, let's see, I was probably 7 and he would have been 9. So he was like trying to be like, oh, I'm cool. I don't play with kid stuff anymore. But he totally loved Generation 1 of Pokemon too. Like, he didn't play through the Game Boy games or anything like that, but he was still into the show and stuff like that. Yeah. And so we can still talk about Pokemon. We've watched Detective Pikachu together, stuff like that. Like, he still, I think he still has like admiration for the series, but he's not into it in any way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just remember after that, it was all downhill from there. I had to have cards, like anytime my mom had extra money or something like that, or what do you want? I was like, I want Pokemon cards, and just would constantly collect Pokemon cards. Anytime I got any sort of allowance or birthday money or anything, it was buying Pokemon cards. So yeah. I just love it.
I did that too.
I can't. Yeah, it's one of my favorite IPs of all time. Like, it's one of those things that like, it stuck with me, as where some things I've fallen off of and like, I don't really care for them as much anymore. But Pokemon, it's just like every time a new game comes out, I just get so excited still.
Well, I think for me, it's kind of a weird thing that Pokemon it's just so obviously one of my favorite franchises that when people ask my favorite franchises, I rarely think to say Pokemon. Because it's just like, oh, yeah, well, yeah, Pokemon, of course. But, so then I'll say...
I assume everybody knows.
I assume everybody
never met me. Yeah.
Everybody loves Pokemon. Everybody knows I love Pokemon. So, you'd think everyone would get that. But so I always end up saying things like Mass Effect or, Star Wars.
Same.
Or the properties that I really love. But, Pokemon easily up there with either of those. Certainly in terms of number of hours played, that's my top by far.
I have a similar thing with Kingdom Hearts where I'll forget to say that all the time, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, obviously like Kingdom Hearts, but that's another thing where I just kind of assume that everybody that knows me knows I like Kingdom Hearts. But anyways, like, yeah, Pokemon is just one of those ones. I'm the same way. Like, I forget it, and then I kind of get brought back down when my fiance, she did not grow up with Pokemon like at all. So like, I still like, when Detective Pikachu was coming out, I was so excited. I was the only person in the theater I think there was one other person, but I went at 4 p.m. on a Thursday to see Detective Pikachu by myself. And I was just so excited when I got home. And I just like, she is a trooper because she like, I took her to see it later and everything like that. And she enjoyed it, but she just does not care about Pokemon in any way. And she just lets me ramble about it.
Well, now you have a new outlet for all those ramblings.
Mm-hmm. I know. I don't have to chew her ear about it. When they showed the new Pokemon Snap trailer, I just had to tell her about it.
Well, I mean,
she just didn't care.
Everyone's got to be excited for the new Pokemon Snap.
I'm going to get her into that one. I think that'll be the one that I can get her into because you just take pictures of Pokemon.
Yeah, it's not a huge commitment, like mentally. You're not having to, learn a whole, genre of games or anything like that. You just take pictures. Everyone takes pictures.
If I can get her into Astrobot, I think I can get her into Pokemon Snap.
Did you get her into Astrobot?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
She's almost beat Astrobot, and then she's also almost beat Astro's Playroom.
Oh yeah,
but she's not good at platforming, so I have to help her a lot with the more platformy sections.
It's weird that, with a lot of games, like I think that's one of the reasons why Pokemon is so. I lost Dustin, and now I'm in the Dustin portion of the camera. Let's see if he's coming back to me now.
Oh, hello,
Dustin. Hello, your camera's off.
Yeah, that was weird. Call dropped. All right, I'm back.
All right. Well, there's Dustin. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? In my first episode of my other podcast, my movie podcast, Remember the Film, we had a similar problem where one of the participants dropped out suddenly in the middle of the call. Yeah. So, internet, what are you going to do?
Yep, exactly.
What's the last thing you heard?
We're in the middle of a pandemic. If the call dropping is, I think the last thing that I heard was we were talking about the platforming section and how she couldn't really do the platforming.
I think one of the reasons Pokemon is so accessible for so many people is because the actual gameplay is very straightforward. Everyone can understand the concept of moving around the map, and then you just have to select which move you want to do, and that obviously you can get into the nitty gritty with Pokemon, and it can become very complex, which is why so many people love competitive Pokemon so much. But it's also something that like literally anyone could try and get into. With platforming and other genres, it can be a little harder to. There's skills that if you've been playing games for a long time, they're just ingrained in your brain on how to platform. But if it's something you're new to, it's going to cause some hesitation.
Yeah, and that's one of the things too with Pokemon is that it's so shallow on the surface. Like you look at it and you're like, oh, this is such a baby's game or kid game. But like you said, the competitive scene is it's insane. There's so much there's so many different little aspects of it. Like people talk about IVs and EVs to me, and I just like right over my head.
So I care about that stuff. Like I've done the breeding with Ditto to get the correct number of IVs, and then use the items that guarantee that the transfer of certain I've done all that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, and I'm not to the level of the competitive players that's just what they do all the time.
Yeah.
I go in spurts where I'm like, okay, I really want to try and get something good of this, and I'll hatch 100 different eggs until I get the one that I can breed with the Ditto to get what I need. And so I mean that's the other thing that I love about Pokemon so much is that you can be as serious about it as you want to be and still derive a lot of enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, and that's a big part of it too for me is that it's really accessible to a lot of different people. Like I play it because I love the creatures, I love the world, I love just getting deep into it, but there's people that some people only watch the anime, or some people only play the card game and they get competitive in that, and they'll only play the game and they'll play competitively, or they'll just play for fun like I do. Like a lot of people will just pick up the new generation, play through the story once, and then be done.
Yeah.
And never go back. So it's one of the few IPs I can think of where the card game, the show, and the video games are on equal levels of popularity, which is insane.
And not necessarily all the same people either, like you said.
Yeah, exactly. So. People will play the card game that have never seen the show, or people will play the game that have never played the card game.
I think people our age, in our age group, are probably, the games mostly, and then maybe the show. Or the cards, separately.
Yeah. Well, did you even know how to play the card game? Because I think I learned twice and then have no idea how to play it anymore.
So I learned... I got Pokemon cards as soon as they became available because I was that excited about Pokemon cards. And I brought them to school, and I started playing with some friends, and I was called a loser and a nerd and all that stuff. And then not even a month later, it was the coolest thing. Everybody had Pokemon cards. All the people who were calling me a nerd a few weeks ago had Pokemon cards now. Did I get an apology from them? No, of course not. But
kids will be kids, as they say.
And they were the biggest thing in the world, even bigger than the games for a while.
Yep.
And then
cards were huge in the 90s.
One day it just went away.
Yeah.
Everyone stopped playing the cards, and they started making fun of the people who did again. And
I honestly think it kind of aged too. Like you went from Pokemon was like you were younger, and then either some people went to Yu-Gi-Oh when Pokemon stopped becoming popular, or some people just went straight to Magic. And
that's
then, like,
true.
Magic
A lot of
was
people
like
did go to Magic.
the teenager like cool card game to play. Because I was the same way. I played Magic throughout most of high school.
I have a distinct memory of when I stopped playing the card game, and actually when I mostly stopped buying the cards altogether. I had, and again, this is my childhood memory of it. I'm pretty sure I had a first edition Charizard because it had the first edition logo on it.
I had a second edition one. Wasn't as cool, but still.
So I had that, and I had my deck, and I had my deck of cards at school, and I distinctly remember playing with some friends, and I'm positive I put the cards in my locker, and then I came back to my locker in the afternoon. My deck was gone. So, and at the time, a first edition Charizard was worth more than the other cards, but it wasn't what it became. But
it's not logic buying it for hundreds of thousands of dollars.
So I distinctly remember that being the moment I was like, okay, well, if I can't have that card, I'm done with the cards.
Yeah, that's hard because I when I was a kid one time, one of my mom's friends, she was probably at that point in her late 30s or 40s, and she collected the cards. She didn't play them, she just collected them, and she was the one who had like the best cards. Like she had so many good ones. And there was a time where she was like, okay, like my sister was upset about something, and I was like annoying her or something like that. She's like, if you leave your sister alone and let her do this, I'll let you pick one of my cards out of this like special binder. And I remember getting that card, and then like probably the next day got water damage on it and just ruined the card. Man. And I was like, that was one of those moments where I was like, man, this sucks. Like these little pieces of paper just get ruined so easily.
Man, and I got to tell you, I'm pretty confident I know who stole my cards. And if I ever see him, I'm going to ask. But, I've even like every few years I'll get this, like the memory will jump into my brain, and I'll go search Facebook to see if I can locate this guy. And then of course I can't because I'm not going to name names or anything like that, but his name was not super uncommon, so it's like, there's only 1 billion people with this name. I guess I could message all of them like a psychopath, asking if they have my first edition Charizard.
Yeah, he wasn't John Smith or something.
I mean, it was close. It was close to that.
Turns out he's the one who sold the card to Logic.
Oh man, I would lose my mind.
Your one card that got stolen got sold to a rapper for
that wasn't the only card that got stolen. My entire deck got stolen. That's why I stopped playing, because I lost everything. And I say stolen because I'm confident it was in my locker, but how did it get out of my locker? So who knows?
Yeah. Well, again,
I was in 5th grade, so it's how good was I at keeping track of my stuff? That remains to be seen.
I think the same thing. I'm always like, I didn't lose that, and then like I probably lost it.
Yeah, and I've been holding a grudge against this guy ever since.
I mean, like I may or may not have let my Game Boy Color go through the washer with my copy of Gold version in it, but that's neither here or there. Yeah. So kids be kids. Be a little irresponsible. Yeah. So anyways, that's a little bit about us and our history with Pokemon. What we kind of wanted to do on this first episode, we talked about it a little bit already, but it is the 25th anniversary. So Jeff and I thought that it would be fun to kind of talk about like predictions for this year, things we already know are coming, and maybe surprises that we hope to see this year. So let's start that off. And we talked a little bit about Pokemon Snap, but let's talk a little bit about that. Jeff, is there anything in particular you're looking forward to from that? What's your history with the Pokemon Snap?
I obviously, at the time that Pokemon Snap came out, I was buying anything that said Pokemon on it. So,
Yep.
And I'll admit, even as a kid, I was probably less excited for Pokemon Snap than I was for like Pokemon Coliseum, or the any of the other N64 games. Just because Pokemon Snap was so different. It was just a game that takes place in the Pokemon universe, and of course, as soon as I played it, I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
I also remember being filled with a lot of frustration at times, because like poses, I thought I caught a Pokemon in a really cool pose, but then the game gives you like no points for it. And I'm like, hang on, that was a cool pose.
It's a self-esteem, like, it just destroys you. You're like, man.
So what do I expect? I expect the AI to be marginally better. I mean, I'm not expecting, a complete overhaul in the gameplay. I imagine you'll still be taking pictures of Pokemon.
Yeah.
And we've seen the trailers and everything, and it is going to be largely the same kind of game. Obviously, there's way more Pokemon in this one. I don't know if you have that exact number in front of you, but I remember in the original there was like 63 Pokemon, and there's 100 in this one.
I haven't looked at all about that. I was curious as well, just to see, like, because I know they're not going to do the entire Pokedex. Like, there's just no way they're going to do that. But I wonder...
They didn't do the entire Pokedex for a mainline Pokemon game. They're not going to do it for Pokemon Snap.
Let's not even get started on that. Jeez. But yeah, I am not sure what the actual, like, number is on that. If they've released that, or if they... I know in Pokemon Detective Pikachu, the movie, they were given like a certain amount, like they were allowed to use like 60 Pokemon or something like that. So they had to like pick and choose. But I wonder if there's one, because I pulled up an article here, but I'm not 100% sure if that's the exact number. Let's see. No, I guess not, because it popped up with a 51, but then it says...
Yeah, I thought I'd seen an article that said that the original had like 60 something, and that
63 and
63.
That seems really low though, to only have 51.
No, but I think it's 51 new ones. Or like 51 more or something like that, because I thought I remembered seeing that there was going to be over 100 Pokemon in the new Pokemon Snap.
And I feel like even just in the trailers we've seen, there's such a varied amount that it feels like there would be more than that. But
I'm sure you've seen that this is taking place in a new region of Pokemon, and that and so they have this. I forget what the name of it is. You could probably locate it in that article. It's like it's Illuminati or something like that. Pokemon that glow, I believe, is.
Pokemon Shadow Organization.
No, there's going to be Pokemon in Pokemon Snap that are like, shimmery and glowing, and that's like the regional effect, like Dynamaxing or Mega Evolving.
Or okay, I see what you're saying. Like how they showed the giant. What was the grass Pokemon that they showed? That was Meganium. Mm-hmm. Meganium. Let's see.
I'm sure we could probably get that exact word. It's Illuma something. Aluminum.
What's aluminum? Aluminum foil. I don't know. I don't see the name of the region anywhere.
I'm gonna find that. But yeah, so we're talking about a new region, but that is also going to be, the Pokemon that we've already seen. So I don't think they're going to be breaking, too much new ground with this. Like maybe we'll get, some, I don't even think we'll get like regional variants, or anything like that, because they won't introduce anything in a Pokemon Snap game that you're not going to be able to get in the other games.
The only way I could see them doing anything like that is if there's some sort of tie-in with the movie that's coming out. Okay. Like if they have any sort of thing with that, but that's just like a guess.
According to this printout from the Japanese game magazine Famitsu, you'll have to forgive me on the pronunciation. The region is called the Lental region.
Oh.
Lental. And the phenomenon with the glowing Pokemon is called Illumina. So I was right.
That's
Illuminati.
That's almost as like
Pokemon.
Yeah. That's almost as like on the nose as like Raritanium.
Yeah.
Unobtainium.
Unobtainium. We can't even obtain it.
Yeah. I guess knowing how many Pokemon are going to be in it, though, would kind of also depend on how long the game is, because the original wasn't a long game. Like when you think back on it, you're just replaying the same levels over and over and over.
We replayed it 1,000 times.
Yeah, because it was like maybe 2 hours long, if that.
If that.
and it's an on rails game, so it's not like you're really getting to do anything different. You just take different poses, like you were saying.
I don't know if it was ever like an arcade game. Was it an arcade game in Japan? Because that would make sense to have a game that's set up that's only a few hours and is eminently replayable.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that, but that would make sense because it's not like you could, go anywhere. I think you might be right. Or maybe it was just, there's like old photos of a kiosk and it has like a Nintendo 64 controller and everything.
Yeah.
But this is super cool. I want this now.
But I imagine that even if it wasn't actually an arcade game, it may have some sort of roots in that style of game, and that's why it was so short and just focused on replaying and getting higher scores. So as far as what do I expect from this one, I expect a longer game.
Yeah, I think so too.
I imagine that we're probably looking at most 10 hours.
Yeah, I think that's even being generous. I'd say 5.
Yeah. And obviously like 5 would be like double the original game. So, but I just think that we have different expectations now. And so I think a little bit longer game, especially for a full price game, if it's too much less than 10 hours or if it's less than 10 hours and doesn't have the replayability that we would need, then it's not worth $60.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say too, is that like Nintendo is just going to Nintendo and they're going to charge, Pokemon Company as well too. They're always going to charge full price, but I hope that it's worth it. And I hope that even if there's not a lot of content at launch, that they support it and add more Pokemon or something. Because if it's only a few hours long, it's going to be hard to justify that $60 to buy it. As much as I want that game, it'll be hard.
Yeah. I mean, I've already pre-ordered mine. Because as soon as the pre-order went available, I was like, okay, let's do it. Pokemon Snap. I've been dying to play Pokemon Snap again. I had it on the 64, and I have a 64 still, but I gave away my original Nintendo 64 from childhood. I gave it to a friend as a Christmas present when I got a GameCube, and his family wasn't going to be able to get a console for them, so I gave them my 64 and all the games that I had. So that included Pokemon Snap. So then when I was older and I was like, I want all that stuff back, of course, I started buying everything. And the copy I got of Pokemon Snap does not work.
Oh, that's a bummer.
So I bought it at a secondhand shop for like $30. So I was like, well, that was well spent.
I had a similar experience. Like not with Pokemon Snap though. This is kind of a little bit of a segue, but I sold basically all of my like DS and 3DS games that I had of Pokemon, and I wanted to replay them. And I bought Soul Silver, and it was not cheap. It was like $50 or $60 to rebuy it. And the copy every once in a while would just freeze, and I would have to like reset my 3DS. And I made it through it. I struggled through the whole game, and I played through it, but it was just such a bummer. I was like, man, I wish I wouldn't have sold my heart gold.
Can you imagine if you had like encountered a shiny?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's why I didn't even try to. I'm not big on shiny hunting anyways, but there's no way I was going to shiny hunt in that game but yeah, I'm hopeful that we get a little bit more fleshed out with the new Pokemon Snap, just so that it more worth the cost or more worth the price. But we've seen studios release games that are super short for full price. Even last year with Resident Evil 3, as much as I liked the game, I believe it took me 6 hours to beat it. It was just like...
I think that we may, like I talked earlier just about whether or not we would get any like regional variants or anything like that, since this is a special region. The only thing I can see is them introducing the Illumina phenomenon here, and then maybe in Pokemon Go, they have an event where you can catch Illumina versions of some of the Pokemon. That's the only way I can think of that they would actually, introduce any of this stuff in terms of being like catchable for, any other property.
Yeah, because Pokemon Go is their big like, it's almost like their marketing one where like they'll put things either in that or
anything that happens in any of the games gets a little taste in Pokemon Go. It's like Pokemon Go has its fingers in every little aspect.
Yeah, even Alolan forms started showing up and stuff like that, and
well before the Alolan region was
or like
not there.
Pikachu with any hat ever that Ash has worn ever in
Yep.
anything. Like Pikachu will have it in that. But I guess the same thing happened in Sword and Shield recently. They did that with where you could download like every variation of the hats from Ash's history throughout the show. Which is funny because he's not a character in the game, but that's neither here nor there.
But that's one thing that Pokemon Company always does a good job of, is tying everything together by marketing.
Yeah, the marketing,
not strong ties, but just enough to remind you that, oh yeah, we also have this other thing, and since you have to catch them all, you got to go do this as well.
Their marketing, they're very good at their marketing, that's for sure. Like it's on another level. Yeah, I still give them money, so hey, it's working. I was gonna say though, maybe just based on the Pikachu things, maybe they could do something with Sword and Shield, like a raid or something like that with a specific, like Illumina Pokemon as like a promotion or something. But I think you're right. I could see it more so in Pokemon Go if they do anything like the Illumina Meganium or Meganium. I can never pronounce that Pokemon's name.
I think Meganium's right.
Meganium. Could see that possibly coming over. But in terms of excitement for the game, I woke up at 6 a.m. because I'm on the West Coast to watch that trailer, and I was not sad about it. I was sad about the fact that there was not anything else, but that excited me, but I was not sad about Pokemon Snap. Which, speaking of disappointment in that's a good segue to the rumored remakes of Diamond and Pearl. I mean, that would be the most logical game for them to remake in the series. However, they don't always do that. Like, even, I want to say, what was the other one? I'm not sure, but I think Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire wasn't exactly 10 years later, but I could be mistaken on that.
Yeah, I don't recall the exact dates off the top of my head either, but obviously.
Yeah, and even with this, it would be further than that because I believe Diamond and Pearl came out in 2006, and it would have seemed like they would have done it that year, but they had a new generation, so that makes sense. But I would be excited to replay through those. I'm playing through Platinum now for my first time. I actually never played Platinum. I played through both Diamond and Pearl, but I never got around to Platinum, so I've been playing through that, and I like Gen 4. I think people always kind of just act like they kind of lost interest after the first 3 generations, most people I talk to, but I think Generation 4 and 5 were actually super good generations. And
for me, and I'm sure we'll talk about this in some later episode, I think Black and White is probably my least favorite generation.
I hear that a lot.
It's not like they're necessarily bad, but I think a lot of them just don't look stylistically the same to the older Pokemon.
Yeah, I was watching that Did You Know Gaming earlier, and they talked about how with a lot of the Pokemon in that, they went for more sharp edges than round edges to kind of like appeal to the audience they're going for. And that generation was also based on New York, so it was more. I think it was definitely more like that was the generation that was aimed more at the Western, or more Western audience.
Which, it seems weird that they would change anything to appeal to the Western audience when it's all.
They already have us.
You have us.
Yeah. Like, I buy every generation. I bought how many different remakes of, Red and Blue between Leaf Green and Let's Go Pikachu. Like, they got me. Just release a game, I'll buy it.
Yeah, so as far as a remake for Diamond and Pearl, I'm on board for it. I think it is logical. My only concern with that is I feel like we would have some news about it before now.
Well, so that I saw some rumors as well too. I actually pulled up an article from Games Radar that was talking about how apparently the rumor is that there's supposed to be an announcement this month.
Yeah.
And the rumor, there's rumors of a February 27th Nintendo Direct, which I wonder about that because there hasn't been an actual Nintendo Direct that wasn't just like a minis or like a special showcase for a specific game.
Indies.
I don't think there's been one since 2019. So I wonder if it would be an entire like another Pokemon Direct, or if it's like an actual Nintendo Direct where they're going to announce their lineup for this year, because we don't really know what Nintendo has planned.
We haven't really known what Nintendo has planned for most of 2020. Was a big question mark.
I mean, even I remember E3 2019 when they announced Breath of the Wild 2, and that was when they showed off more of Sword and Shield and everything like that. And I was like, oh, Nintendo like knows what they're doing. But I'm not saying that they don't know what they're doing, but since then I feel like we just kind of get the announcements closer when they're coming out. Like, Age of Calamity came out of nowhere.
But, I would expect, I guess that's true. Sometimes these things just come out of nowhere. But it just feels like for something as big as a remake, like I feel like when Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire came out, we knew about it for like well over a year before it came out. And if we're looking at Diamond and Pearl coming out this year, that means it has to have been in production for a little while longer. But the bigger question is, if they're doing a remake, what style of remake would they be doing?
I would like to lean into that it would be more of in line with like Sword and Shield.
I mean, that's what I would want, but given how much more work went into making the world for Sword and Shield and how much harder that is for them to make versus the the Sun and Moon style or any of the previous ones where it's like a little more top down. I doubt that they could get that done. Look at how small the Sword and Shield world is in comparison, like in terms of like, I don't mean in terms of like gameplay hours. I mean like the actual size of the map. The routes are, if you did the same map in an older style game, it would have been a much smaller Pokemon game. Yeah,
it did feel a little bit more condensed.
And a lot of that's just because of the wild areas, you're supposed to spend a lot of time in the wild areas. So, you end up repeating that section over and over and over again rather than, cycling through different routes. But if you're remaking any of the older games in the Sword and Shield style, think about how big the worlds have to be for them to do that. And, the fact that they didn't put in that big of a world for Sword and Shield makes it feel unlikely to me that they would do that for a remake of Diamond and Pearl. So I think, for me, the more likely scenario is we get Let's Go Johto.
I think that Let's Go Johto would be more likely this year, but I could see the Diamond and Pearl remake coming next year. And to touch on something you said earlier, I'm on Bulbapedia now for Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and it looks like they were officially announced on the Pokemon website on May 7th, 2014, and came out on May 21st, 2014. So the official announcement was there wasn't much time before the actual release.
When was it announced?
It says the worldwide announcement on the official Pokemon website was May 7th, 2014, and were released in most regions in the world on November 21st, 2014.
Okay.
So there was a super short turnaround.
Maybe it was a lot shorter than I remember.
Yeah, but it could have been leaked, though, as well, too.
That time period for me is hazy because I was a GameStop store manager at the time. So
I think I worked at Best Buy at the time this came out. So
game releases, what probably felt like a short time for a lot of people, to me felt like an absolute eternity because I was talking to people about it every day.
Yeah. That's like the Wii U. Like, people would be like, it came out this year. And I was like, did it? Like, when did that come out? I know I worked at Best Buy when it came out. But, so yeah, I don't know. I could still see them doing Diamond and Pearl. I just feel like there's been so much talk about it. But that could be it. Like, it could just be that so many people have predicted it and talked about it that it just has become like its own creature where it's just... It's never even actually been a thing, but people have just talked about it so much that we're just sure that it's going to happen. And they could just do the remakes of whatever they're going to do for Let's Go. Like, Let's Go. It's always Togepi and Meryl or something like that. Or Togepi.
I mean, those would be good picks if that's what they're going to call it. I like calling it Let's Go Johto just because I think it sounds
rolls
better.
off the tongue easier.
But, they could have called it Let's Go Kanto Pikachu Edition, Let's Go Kanto Eevee Edition.
Yeah, I was going to say they have to have an edition because they'll never just release one game
for sure.
One of their RPG series.
Why sell people one game when you can sell them two?
Yeah, like they could have, all of these remakes could have just been like the third version Like when Fire Red and Leaf Green came out, it could, Fire Red or Leaf Green, when they came out, it could have just been whatever yellow, and then it just had all the remake of yellow. I still want to hold out the hope that Diamond and Pearl are coming, because I think it would be cool to replay through those in a newer engine. But I think you're right. Like redoing Sword and Shield would be kind of challenging. If it was more like Sun and Moon or X and Y, I could see it. But I think it takes a lot more now for the engine that they've been using. But who knows?
I guess they have the engine built for Sword and Shield, so maybe it's not as hard as I'm imagining it would be. I'm not a professional game designer, so but if it comes out awesome, I would totally be stoked to play through that, because again, it's been so long since I've played Diamond and Pearl, because that generation, for whatever reason, didn't get its hooks in me the way some of the other ones did. Like I played Pearl was the one that I focused on, and of course I beat it, but I never really had that desire to go back through it again.
Yeah, no, I think that's an age thing, like not your age, but our age group in general, like around Generation 4, I feel like was when people kind of started to fall off the series a little bit more, and even maybe not even fall off, but like you said, it didn't get its hooks in you as much, because I feel like I've heard that from a lot of people. Like, yeah, I kind of just stopped really paying attention after Ruby and Sapphire, and then or Emerald, whichever
X and Y was when I got really back into it.
Yeah, I can see that.
I was still playing all the other ones, but the X and Y generation, for whatever reason, that was the one that hooked me. And I think part of it was just that was, I was the GameStop I was managing at that time. Most of my employees were big Pokemon fans, so we got really into it as a store. That's another thing, is just having friends to talk about it with or to trade with, and all that kind of impacts how into the game you are.
Yeah, someone else has the other version of it too, so you can trade with them or something like that. But I think a big part of that too was the jump to like going from Black and White and Black and White 2 even to X and Y, like the new engine they were doing, and having it on 3DS. I think, because I know multiple people that didn't really play Pokemon anymore at that point, that were like, yeah, I think I'm gonna give this one a try, or like I'm gonna try this one out and buy this one. I haven't bought one since blah blah blah, Diamond and Pearl or whatever. But yeah, I think it'd be cool if they did do a remake of it. I think it's possible, like you said, since they have the engine already. But who knows? I mean, at this point, it's all speculation of just like.
But that's what we're here to do,
right? Yeah, what we think is going to happen. My hope would be for that, and then that they would save the Let's Go games for maybe next year or something. But the way that the Pokemon games have been coming out, I want to say like there's either only a year or 2 year gap between all of them.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah,
for
which
a while,
is weird because
every year there was a new Pokemon game.
Like, and it felt like it felt like when I was a kid that there was way more time gaps.
I mean, there was. There usually, like, I think at most it was like 4 years, but it was usually like 2 years between games. And then for a while it was 1 year they had the new generation, the next year they had a remake, and then the next year was a new generation, and the next year was a sequel.
Yeah, and I think when I think about it now, I think X and Y was 2013, and then Sun and Moon was 2016. And then it was 2019 for Sword and Shield. So I guess they're on a 3-year cycle now.
We had Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire in there.
And 2014.
And then Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, there's always like some... Yeah, because that was 2016, Sun and Moon, 2017, Ultra Sun and Moon, 2018, Let's Go, and then 2019, Sword and Shield. So they were just on a roll there. I think...
Give me a new Pokemon game every year. I'm on board.
Exactly. I'll replay it. I don't think that Pokemon Snap is the only like Switch game we'll get this year. I think we'll get something.
I really hope it's not, especially like with it being the 25th anniversary. Like, Pokemon Snap, I'm very excited for, and if it were any other year, that would probably be enough for me for that year. Obviously, I would want more, but I'd be satisfied. But I think with it being an anniversary year like this, I would like something a little more substantial, whether that be a remake or there's rumor of a third DLC for Sword and Shield. You know, if it's something substantial,
that's what I was. Yeah, I was
cool.
wondering if they were going to do like a large, just like a big meaty expansion for that, and kind of have that be the third game of that, because the DLC, in my opinion, already kind of acted as the third game
for that generation.
Yeah,
sure, because it was a decent amount of content, not quite as long as the main game, but between the two of them, you got
I still had a bunch of fun playing them.
Oh, for sure.
I would like to see something like that, but at the same time, if they did another remake this year, I think I'd be a little bit happier with that. Yeah. But if it ends up just being something Sword and Shield related and like a big
I think the point
update,
is we just want something.
Yeah, just give me anything. Come on, Game Freak. I'm not asking for much.
We're not being picky here. Pick one. Give me a Let's Go. Give me a remake. Give me a new generation. Give me DLC.
Yeah, give me. I just finished Soul Silver last year, but I'll replay through Johto again if you give it to me.
Man, like if they released Let's Go, Togepi, Meryl, whatever we're gonna call it, and you got to play through it and then go play through Kanto again, I would still be happy, even though we just did Let's Go Pikachu.
Yeah. No, that's how I feel too. I would totally be down to replay through that entire area again. That's
one of the things that made Gold and Silver so that's why that's still one of my favorite generations, was because after you beat the new generation, you got to go kick the butts of all the other gym leaders in the other region. Loved it.
And then having to go fight Red as well.
Yeah. Too. Blue. I mean, for me.
Oh, yeah. Whichever one. What was I going to say on that? I like the idea of that too, because I would like to go back to that. But my ultimate Pokemon dream is just every region. Like, let me just go through it all. Like,
I mean, we could have a whole episode about our Pokemon dreams, because I'm sure we could talk about, I mean, I've wanted a Pokemon MMO since the first time I played an MMO.
Yep. And there's always like somebody makes one that's not officially licensed or something. Or yeah, exactly. Someone starts working on one, or there's always the rumored. Oh, go ahead.
Speaking of online games,
yes.
One of the other games that we know is scheduled for release. Well, I guess we don't know that it's scheduled for release this year, but I mean, honestly, it should have come out last year, so it ought to be this year. Is the Pokemon Unite MOBA? A
straight 10 out of 10 game.
I mean, it could be really good. I'm not a big MOBA guy. I've played them a few times, and honestly, it just feels a little stressful. And I also wonder with how the team speak is going to work, like when you're talking to the other players, because I imagine there'll be a lot of kids playing. But what kind of kids are you going to be playing with? Are they going to be like normal nice kids, or Xbox 360, Xbox Live kids who are yelling obscenities at you about your mother?
Racial slurs, everything you can think of.
So, we'll see.
I have very little interest whatsoever in that. And I like to tell myself that maybe I'll try it, but I didn't try. What was that other game that came out a couple years ago?
Pokemon Cafe?
Yeah, I never tried that. But there was another one where they were like the block Pokemon.
Oh,
what's that?
Boy, I downloaded it and everything. I downloaded it.
I downloaded it too. Yeah, I never launched it. It just got downloaded.
I know which one you're talking about. My roommate at the time played it, and he said, it's fine. So that's why I never bothered playing it.
I got to look this up. I cannot remember the name of it. Pokemon Quest.
Pokemon Quest, that's the one.
Yeah, because it was the free download, and I was like, maybe I'll try this out, but I never touched it. As much as I love Pokemon, I have some
standards
spots. Yeah, I have standards. Okay, I draw the line at certain spots of playing every single game.
Well, it's weird. I kind of, I would love there to be more Pokemon to be in more genres of games, because I do like the world and I like the monsters, so much. But I say that, but then every time they come out with one that's just slightly off the beaten path, or is, it's either not different enough to make it worthwhile, or it's so different that I like the experience isn't even remotely similar to playing a Pokemon game.
Yeah.
So
what did you think of Pokken?
So yeah, exactly. I bought it and I played it for probably like 10 hours and I never went back to it because, it's very much just a fighting game.
I got Pokken when it came out on Wii U, and I played a bunch of it with a friend, and I went through most of the story, and I didn't finish it. And it's a lot of fun. Like it's surprisingly got a good fighting system because I'm pretty sure it's the Tekken.
It's the Tekken fighting. It's the Tekken fighting system, and that was actually probably why I didn't like it as much because I am not good at the Tekken fighters. It's when you go into the 3 dimensions for fighting games, I'm not as good. I'm not very good to begin with.
I've always kind of wanted, like, I love the RPG games. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, turn-based RPG Pokemon games I love. But in my head, I've always kind of wanted one that was like you run around the open world as your character, but when you get into a fight, it's more like the trainer's like giving out commands, but you're playing. But you're
executing,
Pokemon.
You're executing the attacks.
I think the moment for me where I realized I really wanted that was in Pokemon the third movie. And there's like the scene at the very beginning where Ash is fighting that trainer and she has her Apom and they're like running all over like the slides and swings and stuff like that. And I was like, man, it would be so cool to like do that in a game and like have to control the Pokemon as they're doing that. And ever since then, I've always wanted to control the Pokemon a little bit more.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, right? Like it would just be so cool to have to like, and even if they had QuickTime events in there somehow where you have to like hit the button or something.
I personally like QuickTime events. I know
I don't have a problem with them.
A lot of people have a big problem with that. I think most people think they're fine. It does get a little tougher when it's like the entire game is QuickTime events. But even that I enjoyed, like Heavy Rain. Did not mind at all. That was all QuickTime events because I was paying attention.
Yeah, and then most of the like Telltale games are like that as well too, which I say I like the Telltale games, but I've only beaten season 1 of The Walking Dead, and that's it.
And I've only beaten Wolf Among Us, so...
Yeah, see? So, this is Pokemon anyways. I don't think they'll ever go that route.
I mean, I'll play it. Telltale Pokemon?
Yeah.
I'm in.
But yeah, for Pokemon Unite, I hope people love it. I hope it has an audience. I don't think I'll be part of that. I don't know how successful it will be, but like I said, I don't want it to fail.
I don't want any
game to fail. Yeah, I'll probably try it as well too. We'll probably try it together.
Probably.
Honestly, we'll probably play together. But
I really want to get our friend Islam on it as well. I think that he will just have a terrible time.
Oh yeah, it'll be so much fun to just ruin his day with that game. He'll secretly love it and then just say he hates it.
Yes,
because he hates everything.
That's his MO. But I'm willing to try it. I've tried most of the genres. Like I tried the Mystery Dungeon way back, and I've even thought about buying the remake one that came out.
Yeah, I almost did as well too, and then I think reviews weren't that great, so I was going to wait for a sale.
They were okay on the reviews, and they said, "Well, if you're a fan of Mystery Dungeon, then you're going to love this remake because it's that game."
Yeah,
it's like, well,
they're like, "Oh boy, do we have a game for you?" It's the same game you played.
I tried it when it was new, and like you play as a Pokemon, and
which is cool.
But it wasn't what I wanted, like in terms of playing as a Pokemon. It
wasn't. I think I played a little bit of the original one. Isn't it like you're a trainer that gets stuck in a Pokemon's body?
You wake up one day and you're a Pokemon.
Okay, that's right. I couldn't remember. I was like, it's something like...
It was weird.
It's like, isn't there an episode of Pokemon that's like that? Where all the Pokemon talk? It's like
there's definitely an episode where they all talk. And they have weird voices too. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's like all of the Pokemon are like... Is it the Giant Island Pokemon? Is that the one where they like go to the island of the giant Pokemon?
I think in the Giant Island one, they're all talking to each other, but they're not speaking English. They're still just saying their names. But I actually love that episode because it's like a whole episode of just nonsense. Squirtle, Squirtle, Squirtle.
The filler episodes of Pokemon are great.
Yeah, the best filler in anime is in Pokemon.
Yep. It's not the driver's license episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Which
Pokemon.
Is garbage.
What, you don't like watching Goku and Piccolo get their driver's license?
It was fun for about 30 seconds.
But it went a whole episode long.
Yeah,
or a whole.
You guys can fly. You could fly.
They're really like we just need to pad this out till Cell. But enough Dragon Ball Z talk.
Yes, so So that's Pokemon Unite. You can tell we're excited about
it. With how much we talked about everything other than Pokemon Unite. Can't wait.
Do you think with Pokemon Go, are you expecting anything big for the 25th anniversary?
Yes. Maybe not big, but I think they will kind of go a little bit out on that. And I say that too because it's the 25th anniversary. They just started recently adding what I think Gen 6 they're on now in the game.
Yes,
because I caught Chespin recently. I was like, what starter did I catch?
I was just trying to remember which starter, but like they've also been doing the events recently where they're spawning a lot of the starters from other generations. So then I have to take them on and be like, okay, now which one is the newest starter that I've caught?
Exactly. I think they will. I think with the new movie, they're going to do tie-ins with that. They're going to have some version of Pikachu that'll be different. They'll have some sort of event pop up. I think that'll be tied to that. What's the new Pokemon in that movie called? I can't remember. Zarude, right?
Zarude?
Yeah.
I think it's Zarude.
Which is such a weird Pokemon to me because I feel like they announced that before Sword and Shield, but like there's not really.
You can already get them.
Can you?
Yeah.
Oh man, I got to jump back into Pokemon Sword and Shield.
You got an email from the Pokemon Company with a download code. Check your email.
Oh, I'll check. I'm gonna check my email right now. Actually, no, I'll check it later. But
I think it came in January, and so like you can just download them. So.
Well, because I know that you did that with Zeraora.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know they had that for Zarude.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the Pokemon that's going to be the focus of the movie. Which I don't know too much about the movie other than I mean we're going to talk about it here in a little bit, but I don't know too much about it other than the Ash is going to meet some character that was raised by Pokemon.
Yeah.
In the wild. Okay, well that'll be interesting enough. I do wonder what he'll say.
Yeah, it's Tarzan meet Pokemon kind of thing.
Well, because all the Pokemon say their name, so does he say his name repeatedly?
Yeah, right.
How does he communicate with the Pokemon? That's honestly the thing I'm most curious about with this movie.
That's a good point. I'm obviously like we'll talk about the movie a little bit later, but I do think that there will be some sort of tie-in with Pokemon Go, and I think again the fact that it is the 25th anniversary, I could see them doing stuff because even just with movies in general, when Detective Pikachu came out, there was
big tie-ins.
There was big tie-ins. There was like the Detective Pikachu's shirt you could get in the store, and like there was, I think, Detective Pikachu in the game, right? You could catch Pikachu with his hat.
It was, you take the snapshot, and then Detective Pikachu might appear in your snapshots.
Yeah, so I think there will be. I love Pokemon Go, but I wouldn't say that I'm not like an avid like has to play every day person. When I take my dog for a walk, I'll usually pop open the game and spend Pokestops or try to catch stuff. But
I play every day, but like it's long enough to catch at least one Pokemon. And
yeah, I was doing the same thing for a while too. When the pandemic first started, obviously to put in perspective, we're recording this during the pandemic still. But when it first started, I was laid off like 30 million other people in the United States were. And so I would take my dog for really long walks because I was like, well, I have nothing else to do. And that's mainly when I would play Pokemon Go.
I managed to get to level 40 before the deadline that you could qualify for the Legacy 40 badge on that.
I didn't get that, but I am going to pull up the game to see what level I am because I don't quite remember. I think I'm like 35 or something. But
yeah. I mean, it is honestly kind of a lot of work at times to get the experience, unless you are able to take advantage of raids and things like that are good ways to get a lot of experience very quickly. But my problem is that both when I was working in my office, there was no gym or Pokestop like within reach from my desk, so I couldn't do anything with that during the day. And then my home is also just far enough away from the park that I can't hit anything. So I end up doing remote raids every now and then.
Yeah,
those are tough to do because you need, especially for like the good stuff, you got to have a team of at least 5 to even stand a chance on some of this stuff. But as far as what do I expect for Pokemon Go in the 25th anniversary, it's like you said, I expect it to be Pokemon Go to continue being the marketing arm of the Pokemon company.
Yep.
So we'll get some little tie-ins, some a week-long event with special things from the movie, or a week-long event that ties in with Pokemon Snap. I bet we will have some sort of like the snapshot thing that they already do for so many of the events where you have to take pictures of your Pokemon.
Yeah,
that's going to be a big thing the week that Pokemon Snap comes out.
The character, whoever the professor is or whatever, I can't remember their name, but whoever that professor is will probably show up in the game or something like that.
And he'll give you an event. One of the challenges they have you do. That's my anticipation for Pokemon Go.
I agree. I think that's a good spot to put that. Like, to end that topic on is just, I think it's going to be their marketing arm for this year to promote whatever they have to announce, because it's worked so well for them in the past.
Next on our notes, do you think we're going to have a Detective Pikachu 2 game this year?
So it was announced, right? Like, it's official that they announced it.
I don't know if that was early last year, or the year before. It's been a while since they announced they were working on it.
Yeah, and I think it was I want to say it was around the same time that they did that big Pokemon event where they announced like Pokemon Sleep and whatever those things were, I think is when they announced it.
I believe that's right.
Yeah, during the 2019 Pokemon press conference, it was announced the sequel to the Nintendo 3DS title, Detective Pikachu, is to be released on Nintendo Switch. Doesn't really say anything else other than that, and this is from sarahb.net. But I could see it coming this year. However, it also depends on if they're going to release a Detective Pikachu 2 movie, if they're going to try to hold off on releasing it till then.
Well, so the first game and the first movie are only loosely the same, right? They're not. It wasn't one-to-one the same story.
I think it has a different ending, for sure. I never played Detective Pikachu. Did you?
I did not. Yeah, that was one of the ones I missed, and I kind of regret not playing it. Because by a lot of accounts, it was decent. It was a pretty fun game, but I think the problem was when it came out, I was almost done with my 3DS. Like, there were other things I wanted to play more, and so I just never bothered to get it. And then when the movie came out, it was like, okay, well now I don't really want to go get the game because, I've already seen the movie, and if it's even remotely similar, then that's going to make the game boring. It's just going to be a longer movie.
Detective Pikachu, the original, did that come to Switch, or is it coming to Switch, or is it just only on 3DS?
I know it originally released on 3DS, and that was why I didn't play it.
Yeah, I was trying to remember, but I think I'm not really seeing anything. I'm just pulling up a Polygon article now talking about the new game, and I was trying to see if it mentions anything about the first one coming, but the only thing it really says, so the ending would be different because according to this, Detective Pikachu for the 3DS, the 3DS ended on something of a cliffhanger. So
yeah, they were setting up a sequel.
Yeah.
So.
Maybe if they do have the sequel come out this year, I'll pick up the first one and play through it. Especially if the ending is different than the movie.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, I love the movie so much that I'm afraid that I'm going to play the game and not enjoy it because it's different than even though it came first,
Yep.
Just because I didn't play the game first, I may not enjoy it as much, but I'd be down to try it before playing the sequel. Maybe that's one of my, that'll be one of my like goals for this podcast is to play through Detective Pikachu and give updates. It's like as I go through. Yeah. Give myself something to do to talk about week to week. But yeah, I think I could see Detective Pikachu coming this year.
Yeah.
Or early next year.
That my only question would be, are they more likely to release the game separate from the movie? Like when they do the second movie, or release them at the same time? Because the movie's not going to be this year. Yeah,
there's no way the live action movie's coming out this year. We'll hear about it before it actually, we'll hear it's gone into production. Movies are way harder to keep under wraps when they start production than games. But that's a tough one. I could see them waiting. It'd be a good marketing ploy because I don't know how well the first Detective Pikachu did to warrant them just releasing Detective Pikachu 2, hoping it's going to sell a bunch without a movie to kind of promote
I think it will probably sell better this time around than the first one did, just because of the movie. The first movie.
I mean, just like I said, I was like, if they release a second one, maybe I'll pick up the first one and play through it so I can play the second one. But, and that's mainly because of the movie. Because the movie. I didn't really have much interest in the game when it first got announced. But
well, that's just last question on games, real quick, Dustin. Do we think there's any other genres that they're going to try to tackle this year?
My gut says no.
Yeah, that's my feeling on it as well. There's enough other things that people have already stated they want or have expectations for, like we've been talking about these remakes and everything, that if they were to come out with something unusual, it might not land with everybody.
Did Pokemon Sleep come out?
I don't even know.
Yeah, because if not, I mean, that's technically a different genre.
Yeah, but
if they release that this year, I could see that coming out this year.
And the Pokemon Brush Your Teeth game, whatever that one was called.
Yes, yeah, the one to help your kids learn how to brush their teeth. I'm not going to play that one, but obviously my fever pitch would be just like you talked about earlier, an MMO. For them to just surprise announce a Pokemon MMO would just even if it didn't come out this year.
Yeah, even if it was for 2 years.
Yeah, if they're like, hey, we know fans have wanted this, we're working on this, or the Breath of the Wild type open game.
It just makes sense to me
this year, but
it just makes sense to me because you release all these new games that are new regions, just follow the World of Warcraft method.
Yep.
And you have your main game, and then you release expansions. And each expansion is a new region. It's so obvious, and anyone who's listening to us has probably also had this exact same thought.
Oh yeah, I mean, me to everybody
that the Pokemon Company has had this exact same thought, and I just don't know why they don't do it.
Because if it's not broke, why fix it? Type of mentality for them. I think they make so much money off of what they're already doing, and even with everybody was they freaked out about what was the name for it when they cut all the Pokemon from the Pokedex, they had a specific name.
Yeah, I remember people had a name for it. I thought that was way overblown.
Well, even with that, it's the game's still they're the highest grossing Pokemon games, I think, still.
You'll have to Sword and Shield for me, but yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right.
Because they just released the sales numbers for it.
The sales were not hurting.
Exactly. And it wasn't even the games weren't in the top. I don't even think they were the top 5, but let's see. When was this? In a massive win for Pokemon development studio Game Freak, the latest entries in the Juggernaut Media franchise, Pokemon Sword and Shield, have sold an impressive 18.22 million copies. So, nerds can be mad, but they still sold.
Bought it.
Yeah, they still bought it. It's it's I'm gonna go, but I'm not gonna, or I'm gonna be mad the whole time. Or
I'm gonna go, but I'm not gonna have fun.
Yeah, I'm not gonna have any fun. Yeah, I'm just gonna play this game just to play it, and I'm not gonna have any fun. But
I mean, what are you gonna do? The game was great, and yes, it was missing some Pokemon, and that was a little disappointing. But they added more of them in the DLC.
Yeah. You kidding me? They brought my boy Scyther back. That's all I wanted.
And I guess maybe that's part of it, is maybe if one of my favorite Pokemon had been in the... I mean, some of my favorite Pokemon were not included, but if it had been all of them, maybe I'd have been more upset. But...
They're love... I mean, don't get me wrong, Charizard's my second favorite Pokemon of all time, but their love affair with Charizard over the other original starters, though, that is a little
It's ridiculous.
Because Charizard was the only original starter in Sword and Shield, right? They added Blastoise and Venusaur later, I believe. Yeah, so it's I can understand things like that, getting a little upset. I think it was so overblown. I never catch every Pokemon anyways. Even in Sword and Shield, I think I'm at 377 or something like that of the 400.
I did not catch every Pokemon.
But you've traded.
But I traded all of them from Pokemon Home, so...
Yeah,
gotta get that shiny charm, bud.
Yeah, I will work on it now. Especially with doing this podcast, I'll probably hop back in a little bit more and play do some of the the like
Dynamax,
what are
the cave?
Dynamax, yeah, the cave, and like catch some legendaries in there. But yeah, I've never been the type of person that
like
fills the whole Pokedex.
I forget what it was. It's like a 4% shiny chance in those adventures.
Oh yeah, I got a shiny Dratini the other day.
Very nice.
Or not the other day. When I say the other day, I mean 2 months ago when I was playing the game. But
I get so upset when I get. I shouldn't say upset. I get less enjoyment out of getting certain shinies now because I got so many of them in Pokemon Go.
Oh yeah.
Like,
well, even
I have like 9 shiny Dratinis in Pokemon Go.
Yeah. Even Pokemon Let's Go had like an insane shiny rate. Like,
oh, I loved it. I really.
You don't even have to try really in that game. You just kind of get them. But yeah, in terms of like what games I think, or if anything will come this year, I don't foresee them doing anything really much more than the Pokemon Snap. I think that's the big thing they're going to focus on now. And then either they'll announce something soon or they'll announce something after that, maybe around E3 time for the fall. But
assuming we have an E3 of any kind.
Yeah. I think they'll probably still do some sort of direct.
Nintendo will for sure.
Yeah, Nintendo will. They really like to kind of fill that E3 time, even because they haven't been at E3 since what, 2014?
No, they've
right.
They're
like a presentation.
They have not done a press conference since like 2014. That might be right. I remember I went to the one where they revealed the Wii U. I think that was 2012. So I was at that press conference. So at least through 2012.
Okay. So yeah, I don't really foresee much in the terms of games other than they'll probably do a remake. We already talked about that, but I don't see much else.
Well, so let's talk movies then.
Yeah.
We already touched on them a little bit, so we won't spend too much time here on them now. But the Pokemon, what is it called? The Pokemon the movie, Secrets of the Jungle.
Yeah.
Which was until recently was known as Pokemon Coco,
which is a really good name, and they should have just left it at that. But
yeah, Secrets of the Jungle's weak.
Yeah, bad name. Call it Coco.
Coco is not like significantly better or anything, but it's certainly
definitely not
any worse than Secrets of the Jungle.
It's so this movie came out already, right, in Japan?
In Japan, yeah.
Okay, so I've never actually. I don't want to spoil myself on the film in any way, so I haven't really like dived into it. But all I know about this, because of the internet being the internet, is Ash's dad finally gets mentioned.
Oh, I hadn't heard that. That's crazy.
That's like all I've heard.
I did hear that he was mentioned. I thought you meant he was gonna like appear. No, I
don't think he
gets named.
I don't know. Yeah,
not name drop, but like, oh yeah, I have a dad.
Yeah, that's not Professor Oak. I have theories on the movie because they've been like with the new series of films, starting with I Choose You, kind of like an alternate history almost.
Yeah.
Where like that one was like a retelling of the beginning of the anime, and then it kind of became like halfway through it became this wholly different thing that had to do with like Ho-Oh and stuff like that, which was kind of cool. I like that movie a lot.
It's tied to the original beginnings of the anime, so
yeah. And with the next one, The Power of Us, that one was, they had Lugia in that one, which kind of felt like a little bit of a, hey, look at this one. We're like retelling a little bit of Pokemon the movie 2000. So I am wondering if they're going to do something like that with this and Pokemon Forever. I'm getting vibes that it's going to be like kind of similar to that, because that's
Celebi was the spirit of the forest.
Yeah, he meets some random kid in like a forest, and so that makes me wonder. This is just my theory. I haven't actually like looked at this or really talked about this, but what if the kid is Ash's dad from the past? Because Pokemon Forever, the kid he met was Professor Oak. If you remember, at the end, it ends up being Professor Oak.
That's true. So
that's just my theory. Like maybe that's the reason why his dad finally gets mentioned, is this kid is actually Ash's dad, and like he was just raised by a Pokemon. I don't know. It's just a random thought that I had with the way this new series of films has been going. But
I feel like
I'm very excited.
Pretty unusual.
Yeah. Do we know, is this coming to theaters or is it going straight to streaming? I know that theaters are kind of not really a thing everywhere right now, but
I'm guessing it's just going to go straight to streaming, just because even when it does get released in theaters, it's usually not more than just a few showings. So
yeah, that's true. I could see it either coming like to a streaming service or out physically.
Honestly, I expect it to be Netflix just because of their current partnership. Although somewhere in my head that I had something like maybe they were partnering with YouTube, but because I know they did the Twilight Wings series,
so good,
which was very enjoyable. So who knows? So it could be a YouTube thing, could be a Netflix. I'm inclined to believe it'll be Netflix just because they're still working with them on Journeys, which I do want to talk about that briefly as well.
Yeah,
but
me too.
As far as the movies go, we've talked about Secrets of the Jungle is coming. They'll probably do some events in the games tied to that. And then
we also touched on Detective Pikachu too a little.
And I don't think we're going to get any other movies, although,
didn't they announce before Detective Pikachu came out that they were going to make a Pokemon film that was like not related to Detective Pikachu? I believe I remember seeing something.
No, I remember that being said, but I haven't heard anything about that since then.
Me neither. I think it's just and then they've said that Detective Pikachu 2 is a thing, right?
Yes, that is a thing that is happening.
Yeah, I mean, give me Detective Pikachu 2 whenever it's ready. I will be there day one. Like I said, I have 2 Detective Pikachu posters right there on the door. It's my favorite.
I don't know how they're gonna make a sequel make sense based on how the first one ended.
I teared up at the end of that movie. Like I was sitting in the theater tearing up watching that. Like it was just such an experience, and that's one of my
really good.
Yeah, it's a feel-good movie for me. Like when I'm in a bad mood or I'm feeling down, I just put it on and I watch it. And like,
it's legit.
I've heard people say I've heard people say like, oh, it's too dark for a kids movie or whatever. And I'm like, I don't really see that. Like, yeah, and it's not even that dark. Like, I can imagine I felt like a kid watching that movie, so I could imagine being a kid watching that and like totally like not feeling like it was too dark.
You're telling me that a world in which animals basically being pitted against each other for the entertainment of humans
say their own name too. Like
we're gonna say that's not inherently a little dark. Like that's
right?
Just part of that's part of the business here.
Like the underground, with the whole underground fighting ring, I'll watch it whenever. I loved the first one. Give me the next one. So that does kind of bring me back, though, real quick to Detective Pikachu 2 to wonder if they will release the game first just so that people have, like, experienced it, or if they want to, like, keep it a surprise. If it's going to be anything like that. Like, I wonder if they're working at all with Game Freak or whoever's making it, because from what I've seen online, the endings seem pretty different, so I don't know.
Yeah, I expect it makes more sense to me to release them together unless the stories of the games are going to be significantly different than the story of the movie. In which case, then you do want to space those out a little bit.
And then my prediction for how the movie will go will just be him like going through like trying to become a detective with his dad, and then Pikachu will be there along. So like they'll still have Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, but he's not going to talk like Ryan Reynolds
anymore. Exactly. So it'll be Pikachu just saying Pika Pika the whole time, unless there's some stupid way where they do it all over again.
I hope they find a stupid way to do it, and I hope it's really stupid. I just want it to be so stupid the way they.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine if they like essentially Jumanji it, where like they go into the game world under the different characters, and somehow they do find a way to bring Danny DeVito in, and Danny DeVito goes into the Pikachu body just so that all the people that wanted DeVito to be Pikachu can get it.
I mean, I'd be excited for that.
Me too. I'd be all about it.
I just think the Pikachu needs to talk. Either that, or we need to get another Pokemon that talks.
But
it is Detective Pikachu though. So
yeah, I think it'll come out whenever it's ready, and I'm ready for it whenever it comes out. Basically, and
with the TV shows, Pokemon Journeys returns with final episodes in the United States in March.
So is that the show's over? then?
That's what the article I found said, was the final episodes of Journeys is in March. But
that does make me just wonder if they're changing the name. Yeah. Like how it went from X and Y to XYZ, or
I imagine that's what it is.
Sun and Moon to Ultra Sun and Moon, whatever they called that. I can't remember.
Honestly, I've enjoyed Journeys in a lot of aspects, and then in others I really don't like it.
I'm on the final episode of the newest batch.
Yeah, I've got a few.
I was actually watching.
I've got a few left.
I was watching it right before we went live, but I really like it. But I think I know what you mean though. Like when you say that there's things you don't like about it.
I mean, Go is a fine character, but I hate that he just throws Pokeballs and catches them.
Yeah, it's very much like the Pokemon Go, Pokemon Let's Go kind of like character.
It's just so on the nose in that regard that it kind of takes me out of it a little bit. Also, just we've spent literal decades telling me that you got to weaken a Pokemon first, you got to battle him first, and then Go just comes in and is slinging Pokeballs.
I think there's like an episode where Ash tells him, he's like, no, you have to like fight the Pokemon. Like one point,
he said that, and then Go's like, why? And he catches another Pokemon.
No, I get it though, because like when I went and saw The Power of Us in theaters, I didn't really enjoy it because it just felt like the biggest commercial for Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee. Because those are like really the only Pokemon in the movie that they focus on, other than Zeraora. But yeah, like I get it where it's like it's very much, hey, Pokemon Go and Let's Go are super popular, like. So we're just gonna catch the Pokemon without damaging them.
What I really wanted was more story set in Galar.
Yeah,
it did get a decent amount, and I, according to the article I was reading, I think it was from Game Rant, was the website I found it on, but they were talking about the final episodes having a little more time in the Galar region, which would be great. Because I wanted a Sword and Shield anime, and we got Journeys, and they've spent probably 75% of the series outside of the Galar region.
So, well, and it would make sense too, because Ash's whole like plot line in the show is that he wants to battle
Leon.
What's his name? Leon. Yes. Mm-hmm. That he wants to battle Leon, which, spoilers, he's going to lose that battle. Leon is like so OP compared to every other character in that show. But yeah, I think it makes sense if most of it happened in the Galar. I totally get that criticism because I have the same one. Like I like seeing them go back to different regions because I'm nostalgia. But
yeah, I mean, so like it's cool that they did that because it does tie the universe together a little bit more. But it's also like this was supposed to be sort of a soft reboot, but then they also continually reference things that happened in previous series. So, and granted, like I'm gonna, like I said earlier at the top of the show, I'm gonna be 33 years old. So like the show's not for me anymore. And I understand that. But
yeah, it's definitely aimed at like, children now, but still
there's the part of me, and there always will be, that wishes, like I don't want like a dark, gritty Pokemon. I don't need the DCEU of Pokemon. But I would have liked at some point to have Ash age with me a little bit.
Yeah.
So like,
he didn't need to be 10 the whole time.
He didn't need to be 10 forever.
Yeah.
If he had, even if today he was 16, that there would have been that, time, and it would have made a little more sense that he has these memories, he's done these things, and knows all these people, from
Ash is a 45-year-old man. Like,
I mean, honestly.
Like even in Pokemon Sun and Moon, when they bring in Red and Blue, or Ultra Sun and Moon, or were they in the original as well? I can't remember, but they aged them up.
Yes, I think it was because
Ultra. They were aged up in that as well too, and like that was cool. And I'm in the same boat. I wish they would age up Ash, or like, if they are going to soft reboot and just keep him 10, then soft reboot. Like, don't mention like, oh yeah, I used to have a Charizard or whatever. Like,
because in Journeys, there's times where you see Go catch a Pokemon that Ash has caught before, and Ash is like, it's like a brand new thing to him still. It's like, what kind?
I know.
Pokemon?
I hate that,
bro. You had a Butterfree.
Yeah, I can't stand. I cannot stand the like over the head, like they're just beating you over the head with like, who's that Pokemon? And to a sense where it's like, Ash, you know who this Pokemon is. Like,
yeah, like come on, dude.
You've been a 10-year-old kid in like every region for the past 30 years.
It's times like that makes it feel like an episode of Blue's Clues or Dora the Explorer, where like they're trying to lead the kid to like, that's so and so. You know, like they want him to say whatever, they want him to participate in the show. But again, I'm a 33-year-old man watching Pokemon, so I'm not going, oh, it's Butterfree.
Yeah.
No, Ash, you idiot, that's Butterfree.
And then in terms of like what they'll do after this, if it is the final set of episodes, like you said, and they'll move on to something else, one of those articles I was reading earlier about the remakes of the Sinnoh region mentioned something about a new show titled Legends. But that's all it really says. Okay. So, and I don't know how legit it is. It's from a Center Pokemon, I believe it's. I don't know. I had to translate it. I don't actually know what. Yeah. So like,
take it with a grain of salt.
Who knows? Yeah, take it with a huge grain of salt. But maybe there is another show coming later this year.
I think that Journeys is going to wrap up, and I think we're going to have whatever Journeys Galar or whatever whatever the second season, like how they've been doing 2 renditions of it. I think we get that before the end of the year.
What was I gonna say? I see it being more of like, this was more of a almost like a one-off series, which seems weird for Pokemon. But then at the same time, he's already caught Pokemon from Galar. Like Ash has Sabo, right?
Yes.
And Go has
Scorbunny.
He had Scorbunny. Yeah. Okay, so. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder what they're going to do with that.
No love. That's unfair.
I mean, that makes sense. Scorbunny squad for life, man.
Grookey gang. Come on, man.
Yeah, in terms of shows, though, I could see something else being announced later this year, but I'm excited. I'll check it out, whatever it is. I haven't kept up with all the shows, but I try to watch a couple episodes here and there of every series. What about cards, Jeff? What do you think? Moving on to
well, as we've
Pokemon
talked
cards.
about, we're not big into the cards anymore, you and I. But
unfortunately, I would love an excuse to.
See, that's my problem. It's like I don't really need an excuse, and like just even talking about it is temptation. But there's other things I should be spending money on, like Pokemon Snap. So
there is a. I think there's like an actual official like Pokemon website where you can go play the card game.
Oh yeah,
and, like you don't have to actually buy the cards, but
I think there's still.
You have to buy virtual packs.
I think you have to buy virtual packs, or you can buy the physical
real packs,
and they come with codes that you can use to get them.
That's
to play
cool.
Online, which is really cool. And if that was a thing when I was a kid, my cards wouldn't have been stolen out of my locker.
Yeah. R.I.P.
So there's new sets coming out all the time,
Yeah.
So I imagine.
Well, and then if they do another show too,
especially if there will be a new show or if there's a remake game, they'll come out with some packs associated with that.
And the popularity of people buying them and opening old packs online, I think is gonna that's gonna make them even want to release more sets even sooner.
Obviously, like we said, we're not cards experts, but from what I've seen online, I anticipate for those of you who are big Pokemon card fans, this will actually be a pretty big year in Pokemon cards, because it does seem like they're I thought I read that they had just released a new set like not even a month ago. So
you're probably right. I feel like I've seen that as well too. Like I think I saw a couple ads recently for a new set. I think it was all based around your Urishifu. Like it was like more of like I think it was based around that. I could see that. That makes sense. But
and then I also anticipate continued partnerships with other retailers, like for other collectibles. Like you see Original Stitch. I'm sure you've seen those ads on Facebook, where you can get Pokemon print shirts and things like that. So Pokemon's always been very active in doing partnerships with other manufacturers and retailers for stuff like that.
I could see more amiibos coming.
Oh yeah,
as well too. Like amiibos based around. I could see them doing quite a few with Pokemon Snap.
I think that would be something that they should consider for some future game. Is better amiibo connectivity and release a wider variety of Pokemon as amiibos.
Yeah, because with like Breath of the Wild, for example, is another Nintendo game. They, every Legend of Zelda character you buy, it gives you something like certain chests, or you can get armor from certain things.
Or Epona.
Yep, you can get Epona, which was awesome. Yeah, I could totally see them doing something like that in the future, but it is kind of a shame they haven't done it now.
Yeah, because if they had released amiibo of like Gen 1 Pokemon back when I was a kid, I would have bought every single one of them.
Yeah.
So I imagine that I'm not alone in feeling that way. So, if they had higher connectivity, I would probably buy more amiibos.
What's funny is I don't think I actually own a Pokemon amiibo. I have like Funko Pops, but I don't own any amiibos.
I have the Pokemon Trainer.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot they released that one. I don't have that one, I don't think. But yeah. As terms of collectibles, I mean, I'm not a huge collector. Like I said, I have a few Funko Pops, and I think they sold one of those, like they sell those Pikachu figurines for like different holidays and stuff like that. And I bought the one for St. Patrick's Day because my birthday's on St. Patrick's Day, so I have that one.
I think the most collectibles I have are a friend of mine. He 3D prints models of Pokemon.
Nice.
And he does this. He prints like 30 of them, and then he goes.
Okay.
This was pre-pandemic. He would print like 30 of them, and then he would leave them places.
That's awesome.
For kids to find them.
That's super awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, in terms of collectibles, I'm not a huge collector of them, but they will definitely be doing 25th anniversary. They've already announced like. There was like a line of like skateboards, I think, that came out or recently or something like that are coming out. And even in that 25th anniversary trailer, they had like talks about the album, right? With Katy Perry, like they're partnering with her, and there's like an album coming out. So
yeah, that seems weird.
I think it's going to be a big year for collectibles. We'll definitely follow that a little bit like more as the year goes on, because they haven't really shown too much, but yeah, I could see them doing some really cool big things and stuff like that for whatever they're going to announce this year.
Well, so Dustin, it seems like it's time for our last segment of our show here.
Yeah.
So what did we decide we're calling it?
So it's Rank That Pokemon. And what we're going to do is we've already done the random number generator, but each week we're going to try to, are we doing one after this, or?
I think we're doing two this week just so we have two Pokemon to compare.
And then
going forward, we're going to do at least one each week. And we're going to eventually rank all the Pokemon.
Yep. So
obviously these are our rankings.
And we're gonna rank them on a scale of 1 to 5.
With fractions.
With fractions in there. So 1.5, 2.5. And so on. But we're going to rank them on the type, or we're going to discuss their appearance, their types, attacks that they use, abilities, their usability in the games, and then something we're both probably not super knowledgeable on, but the usability competitively. But there's plenty of information out there for us to kind of read up on for that.
We'll talk about it. I mean, in general, the more usable a Pokemon is in the game, the more likely it is that it's banned competitively.
Right, exactly. That's very true. So up first, which one should we start with? Our boy Delibird?
We're doing Pokemon number 225 in the National Dex. This is I'm pulling up the Bulbapedia page of Delibird here, so that you guys
got it as well.
You can get a good look at him. So what do you think of his appearance there, Dustin?
Well, so Delibird has always just looked like Santa Claus to me.
I mean, I think that's what they're going for.
And exactly, in the game in Pokemon Stadium 2, was that part of it? Like you were getting gifts, right? You were putting gifts in the bag.
Yep, putting gifts in the bag.
That's right. I couldn't remember.
I mean,
so on that alone, Delibird's at least a 3 out of 5.
So Delibird, I mean, it's like the most obvious thing in the world. He is the delivery Pokemon. He is a delivery bird.
Yeah, and even if you like the and the biology here, let's see. Does it even? Yeah, Delibird's signature move, Present, allows it to carry special items in its tail that may cause damage or heal its opponent.
Whoa. The bag is a tail?
Well, that's allows it. Yeah, special items and its tail. That seems weird.
Okay, so
Wait.
that is news to me.
Oh my god, that just broke my brain. It totally like when you look at it now,
I can
and
see
he like
it.
has it. Yeah. Oh my god, I had no idea. Whoa.
I don't know how I feel about that.
25 years later, and Pokemon still surprising me.
So, he's an ice flying type, which is interesting because he can't fly. At least it doesn't look like he can fly. He's based on a penguin. So
can he learn fly? Like,
that's a good question. I'm sure that they've got that on here somewhere. I'm sure. But anyways, ice flying is a good type. Obviously, it works well for Articuno.
It is a good,
But I mean, it's a cool type. I shouldn't say it's a good type. Any flying type has some glaring weaknesses that are very common.
Yeah.
So
overall, I've always kind of liked Delibird. I think it's such a goofy, like dorky Pokemon. Its stats are like, let's see. I'm trying to look at. This is just like the.
It has 1 EV for speed.
Yeah. Let's see.
But yeah, it's not one that I would ever use.
No, me neither. I don't think I've ever really like gone out of my way to add a Delibird to my team or really even try out Delibird. So
he can learn fly. I did scroll down to see that he cool. can in fact learn fly. But it's not one that I think most people would use. He looks interesting enough, and it does fill a niche with a Santa type Pokemon, which has enabled them to use him in various events, both in Pokemon Go and in shows and stuff like that. He always appears in the quote unquote Christmas episodes.
Yeah, even in the anime it says, in Delibird's dilemma, Santa Claus owns a Delibird. So that on that alone, for me, he gets a 3.
Okay. Well, I was inclined to let's see what else was our criteria. Just make sure I don't forget anything here.
Type, attacks, abilities, usability in the game, and usability competitively. I mean, even the usability or abilities, realistically, it's pretty cool that he can carry things in his pouch that can either damage or heal.
So, in terms of competitive, I'm never confident in the pronunciation of the website. Smogon, I think it is a website where they have all the information about, like, they have different tiers for whether they can be used in most competitive situations. Delibird is in the never used tier. Oh no, I'm sorry, I take that back. He's in. No, hang on. No, yeah, he's in the never used tier. So he is not popular in terms of competitive. Not a huge surprise. We talked about he doesn't have huge EV yields, so it's tough to get a really powerful one in the first place.
Yeah.
So not a huge surprise there, but they do have some builds suggested. If you want to try them, you can.
If you actually want to be the one person that uses a Delibird,
if you're a Delibird stan.
Yeah. I'm sure there's someone out there that's just like pissed off that
I think for me, I would probably give him. I'd probably give him 3. Yeah, I'll give him 3.
Yeah, I think a 3 cents. For me, the 3 really just goes more based on appearance and then my experience with him in the Pokemon Stadium 2 minigame.
Yeah, I mean, he's a fun enough Pokemon.
Yep.
Albeit I'm not ever, like I said, I'm never going to use him as one of my primaries, but I'm not annoyed by his presence.
Yeah.
He's not
I'll catch him.
Zubat.
Like, yeah. Right?
Or
Jeez.
Diglett.
We'll save those for when we get there. But
all right. Well, so the other Pokemon that we had for today to compare,
Hariyama.
How you feel about Hariyama?
I actually like Hariyama. I don't know if we're ever gonna or if we'll talk about this at any point later, but Generation 3 is my favorite Pokemon generation. Something about that generation, I love it. So I have a soft spot for almost every Pokemon in that generation. And I say almost because there are a couple Pokemon that I think are just so stupid in that generation. But I like Hariyama. I think Hariyama is a way more useful Pokemon than Delibird is, if I'm being honest.
Oh, for sure.
let's see the typing here. It's Hariyama's just fighting. So,
Which,
fighting.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of just fighting type. I really like the design. I like the sumo wrestler like look of Hariyama, which even is Hariyama is based on sumo wrestlers.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Hariyama. I think it's a cool Pokemon.
I like the design. Like, again, he is based on sumos, and we didn't have one of those yet.
Yep.
People might have argued Snorlax was a little sumo-esque.
Right.
But Hariyama's posed. He's got the E Honda hands from Street Fighter. I love that. As far as his competitive usability, he is listed as UUBL, which is underused ban list, which means as far as I can tell, is generally not a playable tier.
Okay. I wonder why.
I wish I knew more. If someone is competitive and would like to comment,
and let us know.
Let us know what makes Hariyama banned. But it's got to be something. It's got to be something based on a move he can learn or something like that. Because his overall stats, he gets a 2 yield for his EVs for HP. So he's a beefy boy. And but it doesn't seem like there's anything inherent about that would make him unusable in competitive.
Yeah.
But it's got to be something with like particular moves he learns or something like that make him, unfair if used in that way, and so they have to ban them.
I was wondering that too, because if he's a banned Pokemon, there's got to be some like cheap like trick or something that people can do. But
overall, I like in terms of using it in a game. It's always good to have a fighting type.
Yeah, and he can learn Strength and Rock Smash, I believe, right? Which is always good to have a Pokemon that can know both of those.
So if you're not choosing one of the fire types as your starter, which means that you're inevitably going to have a fighting type. Because that's all the fires, become fighting types.
Yeah. Right?
Which is why the
firefighting.
Bad. They're bad.
Hey. Let's not go there.
Oh, we're going to go there, but maybe not today. But if you don't already have one of those pre-built-in fighting types, Hariyama's not a bad way to go.
Yeah. For me, even though like, again, biased because Gen 3, but I'd say that Hariyama's probably like a 3.5.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I think, overall, I think honestly, the thing that drops him the most for me is that he's only a single type, which of course it does make sense for a sumo wrestler Pokemon to only be a fighting type.
Fighting. Yeah.
So it makes sense, but it does make him slightly less usable. You can't get the stab damage from using moves from the same type, as much because you only have the fighting options.
And that's really how I feel about like most normal type Pokemon. Like as much as I love certain Pokemon that are normal type, just being one type kind of just like drops them down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it makes them less usable in the long run. So,
3.5. 3.5.
Good for you, Hariyama.
Yeah.
That's our beefy boy.
He's our number 1 so far.
So far, Hariyama, number 1. The dark horse candidate.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got that marked down. So we'll keep track of this list. In the future, when the list gets long, we're obviously not going to go through the whole list every single time. But we'll
probably just do top 10, I assume.
Yeah,
right?
and we'll go through and we'll do our ratings for the new one, and then let you know where they end up on our list. But we're not just going to run through the whole list every single time.
Of all 800 and something?
898 different Pokemon. But here's where we're going to run into problems. That does not include
Alolan forms
or the Galar forms.
Yep.
So.
What about Mega Evolutions? Do we count those as separate, or are those just the same?
I think the Mega Evolutions or add points to the Pokemon that can Mega Evolve.
Okay.
So, it's not a different Pokemon. But
okay,
there's no way that a, Kanto Moltres is ever going to be a Galar Moltres. So,
yeah, exactly.
So they are separate to me.
Completely different types. Like
any Mawile can be a Mega Mawile if you give them the Mega Stones.
That sounds fair.
Okay, well, so that's rank that Pokemon.
We don't have a cool theme like the show, but
such dorks.
Yep. Well, that was our last topic we had for this inaugural episode. Jeff, how are you feeling?
I feel great. I feel like I certainly had a lot of fun. We definitely went longer than we meant to, but
yeah, I know it's so easy to talk about Pokemon. Listen, I've had to go pee for like the last hour, but I've been having so much fun that I just couldn't stop talking about Pokemon.
Maybe that's why you have to go so bad. You get so excited.
Yeah, everybody. Well, like, thank you for checking it out. You know, this is something new. We're still trying to figure out what we want to do every episode and stuff like that. And we want to have guests as well too. So if you're interested in like being on the show, feel free to reach out. We'd love to have people on. We love hearing people talk about Pokemon. And again, it's so new. We're going to try out different things and see what we want to do. There could be a time where we, like I said, I might play through Detective Pikachu and give updates as I play through that and stuff like that. So again, thanks for checking us out. Jeff, where can people find you to keep up with you?
You can find me on Twitter at GoodGameGrizz. That's 2 Z's in Grizz. And you can also check me out on my other podcast, which is Remember the Film.
I will never forget the film.
Which is a movie podcast. I talk about movies. That's one of my other great passions.
Yeah. And you can find me on Twitter at D_DANGER10. That's DDanger10 with an underscore between the 2 Ds. And that's basically the only place you can find me. You can also follow me if you really want to on Twitch. It's just DDanger10, no underscore in there. Not Pokemon related, but I'm playing through the Resident Evil series leading up to the newest Resident Evil, which Jeff won't watch because he's a big scaredy.
Big scaredy guy. That's me.
I want to eventually, though, get a graphics card and start doing Pokemon playthroughs as well.
A capture card, yeah.
It's too hard to do it without that.
It's impossible.
Exactly. Like, I've got to like off. Yeah. Well, what did they do at like old E3s where they'd have like the off-screen thing where they have the person just going them play?
Yeah. No, that's terrible.
But yeah, anyways, guys, that was our first show. I hope you liked it. You know,
as cheesy as it is, I was gonna say, as cheesy as it is, please like, subscribe, and share. Obviously, you know why every person on every YouTube or podcast says that. It's because it's actually important. So.
Yeah, it is really important. We want this to get out there. We want to keep doing this. Obviously, we're just doing it for fun as well too. But if it can become something that you can share with a friend that will really like it, we'd appreciate it. And yeah, I think that's going to do it for us this week. Thanks, Jeff. That was a blast.
Thank you, Dustin.
And remember, everybody, get out there and be the very best.